Turning on our mic. We got sound now. Don't act like we don't have sound. We got sound. We're coming to you right here from the Rock Health and Wellness Center studios on Friday, November 1st, and I'm glad you guys are with us tonight. We're going to have a great show. I think you're going to love this show. It's going to have a bunch of information for you. It's really going to tie in some thoughts for you, and if you catch it over the weekend, it'll be good for you because you'll be able to make some good choices this weekend. So, last night was Halloween, trick or treat, right? A lot of people have candy in their house tonight. We got candy. You've got candy. If you happen to buy a bunch of candy and nobody came to your house, you got a bunch of candy in your house, right? Or if you sent your little kids out to do some trick or treating and they came home with bags of candy. Bags of candy. We've all done that, right? Whatever the case may be, you might actually have some of that in there. So we're going to talk about that. It's perfect timing. We might as well. It's first day of November. Hey, this is the beginning of the 15th month of our show. That's pretty awesome, I think. They hadn't kicked me off the radio yet, and we're just still doing it. So, and I've learned a lot. I tell you, I get how challenging this show is still, and we're not great at it yet, but it's I think we're better than we were when we started. It's a lot of content. One of my friends texted me last night or this morning. He said, "Hey, do you do that show every night?" And I was like, "Yep, every night, Monday through Friday, 6 to 7, 5 nights a week for 14 months. We've done this show. Why? Why would we do this show? Well, we do this show for you. We do it for me, and we do it for you. We're trying to help each other be healthier. That's why we're doing the show. I had yesterday I got all caught up in my little streaming service. They changed the rules on me, and all of a sudden I had to put in some description or something in order to go live, and that was all of a sudden thing that they just decided to do. And so we did some of that last night, and I was thinking about what to put, and I put in there. I thought of saying that, the most honest health show on the internet. Like, I'm not selling you anything. Have you realized that? I put Standard Process, therock.standardprocess.com. You can go get any of your Standard Process stuff if you want to. I get paid a few dollars off of that. I think I've made like 4 so far. Other than that, here's the fish oil, right? You could go to any store and get it. You can order it on the internet. I'm not making any money off that. I'm not selling you anything. I don't lead the show. I don't have any advertisers. It's just me and you. It's just me and you talking about health for an hour. And I know it's a lot of stuff, but it's honest. It's as honest as I could give it to you. And it's all the stuff that you've never studied before, probably, right? And some of the stuff we're going to talk about tonight, you've never heard of it, except for on this show. But we're just going to keep tying it back together because I really think it's important. I had a patient come in today that I hadn't seen in a while, and she just reminded me, when you lose your health, it's hell on earth. It's hell on earth when you lose your health. Hopefully you don't die and you can regain your health. That'd be one scenario. The second scenario is hopefully you die. Because when you lose your health, you'll just go through hell. And I just got to thinking about it. I was like, how many times, and these are real things, right? How many times have we gotten a diagnosis? How many times have you gone and gotten your blood work done and your A1C was high and your cholesterol was high and it scared you enough to do something different? How many times have someone in your family got diagnosed with cancer and all of a sudden it scared you enough to do something different? Right? It usually takes some sort of massive amount of energy in some form or fashion of something that's threatening to us to get our attention and make some changes that we need to make with our health. And that's something that is maybe if we had enough education about health, we could make some of those changes easier without having those major things. Because I tell you, it's really bad. It's really, really bad when you lose your health and you don't die. I had that conversation with my dad. It's like, hey, at least maybe you'll die. And he looked at me and he said, hang on a second. Not, what do you mean? I mean, maybe, I was like, yeah, maybe you'll die and then this will be over with. Because otherwise it's heck. And so all kinds of things go crazy. And then, man, when you have to have surgery, when you have to, like neuropathy, I had a lady this week call me for she wants to talk to me about neuropathy. And we don't turn people away because of finances in my office. We'll work out finances. We got deals. We got ways. We'll let you pay it off. All that sort of thing, right? We do not turn people away because they can't afford it. And this person, she wanted to talk to me about. She wanted to make an appointment and talk to me about neuropathy. And then she told me the kind of insurance she had, and I said we don't do that kind of insurance. And I said, but I can give you all the paperwork you need, and you can fill out your form, and you know, you can get reimbursed yourself. She just canceled her visit, and she canceled her visit, and I was like, for I don't know what it was, like $195, something like that. Like it wasn't worth it. Um, Correcting her neuropathy wasn't worth $195, and the hell that's neuropathy can bring to you is it's man, it's worth a whole lot more than $195. And if you paid me $19.50 for 10 months, I wouldn't care. I just want to help you with your neuropathy. So don't lose your health. That's the point, right? Don't lose your health. And I know the majority of you guys listening to this show, you're working on it. You're already working on your health. You're already working not to lose your health, and good for you. I'm really happy for you, and I hope that it's making a difference for you. So, hey, Lewis, thanks. Everything is good. I hope you're doing well out there. Thanks for watching the show and being a consistent person. I hope it's changing your life right there. So, that was the one thing. That was one thing that I wanted to talk about, and that diagnosis is one of them that I talk about. And so now the tonight's show it's not going to be I'm not going to beat you up. I started to go through all of the ingredients in a Reese's cup and all the ingredients in M&Ms. I had them all written out right here, and how many grams of fat, and how many grams of sugar, and all that stuff, so that when you looked in that bowl of the leftover candy that you have, and you were thinking about eating those M&Ms and all that blue one lake color and yellow number 5 and yellow number 6 and red number 40 and all that synthetic coloring that goes into all those things, and the 31 grams of sugar that's in an M&M. No. I'm not going to beat you up with all those things, right? Because that's cruel. That's jacked up to do something like that. Just like do that. I'm not going to do that. But I do want to talk to you about sugar and your immune system. I do want to talk to you about sugar and pain, and how it works together. And it's going to be another one of those ways where we kind of map it out, because we've done it lots of times, right? We've talked about this lots of times, and I want to bring some things up to you so that you remember them, and I want to map them with overlap them with a couple different ideas. So I just got back from Las Vegas on Monday. You guys know that if you watched the show on Tuesday. I got to go out there, and my daughter bought me tickets to go watch the Chiefs and the Raiders play for my 54th birthday, and we went out to Las Vegas. Well, the last time I'd been to Las Vegas was for Leslie's 50th birthday, which was 3.5 years ago. So it was in 21. It was June 17th of 2021. And we were right in the middle of COVID, right? So COVID had kicked off in early 2020. And then now we're into June of 21. And I hadn't missed a day of work. They called me essential. Whoever they is, they said that we were essential. I think really we just didn't cause any trouble. We didn't eat up any hospital beds, and we didn't take any supplies away from anybody. So I think they said chiropractors could just work. And I got this I got this email from my state board. It's kind of an aside, but I got this email from the state board, and they said you're only to do essential adjustments, necessary adjustments. That's what it said. You're only to do necessary adjustments. And I laughed. I was like, dude, what the heck you think I do all day long? Like, unnecessary adjustments? Like, what does that mean? The person's subluxated or they're not subluxated. If they're subluxated, you should adjust them. If they're not subluxated, you shouldn't adjust them. It's like, what does that mean? A necessary adjustment. But anyway, I didn't miss work all during 20 and all during half of 21, right? I didn't get COVID. I hated those freaking masks, and I wore one so I didn't have to go to Austin and pay $1,000 fine because I didn't wear one because my board told me I had to wear one. But and there was a really interesting deal on that too, by the way. There's a bunch of asides all of a sudden. I looked up because I was really interested. So I went to the National Institutes of Health and I looked up a study pre-2020. I was trying to find a study pre-2020 on masks. And I found one by two doctors out of South Korea. And they did this extensive study on whether masks were effective or not. And they said, no, they were not effective. They caused all kinds of turbulence. Your breath got on the outside of the mask. Your hands touched the mask. They went through the whole thing. And they said it was not effective. And then I didn't print it off that day. And then the next day or the next day, I went back to find that article to print it off, and it had retracted written right across the article. Like two or 3 days after I found that article, I went back and found that same article on National Institutes of Health, and it had retracted written across. They retracted that article that had been there since I don't know, it's like a 2013, 14 article. I don't remember what year it was, but that was interesting too, right? All right, let's get back on track. I went to Vegas in June of 21, and I was on vacation, right? And this was after the 2019, but it was that I had made my stance on what I was going to do, but it was before I quit eating sugar. And we had ice cream every night, because if you're walking around Vegas, there's ice cream everywhere. You can get an ice cream cone all over the place. And so I went out and I had ice cream every night. Well, when I came back from Vegas, I got COVID. Now, I went from March of 20 to June of 21 and didn't get COVID until I went to Vegas and had ice cream for 3 or 4 nights in a row. And then I came home and I got COVID. And I was like, that was self-inflicted. That was self-inflicted stupidity is what that was. Because 80% of your immune system is in your gut. Your microbiome is a bunch of bacteria that's in your gut. And those bacteria, you've got good bacteria and bad bacteria. And the bad bacteria, I always call them little crackheads, the bad bacteria are feeding off of the sugar. And they will multiply when you feed them with sugar. And they don't care anything about protecting you from any virus or bacteria that's out there in the world. They're all self-absorbed. You'll mess up your microbiome with sugar. And you will destroy your immune system with sugar. And we're in a point, and it's like, really, you're going to tell us that tonight? Yeah, I'm going to talk to you about it tonight. Not because I'm trying to beat you up over Halloween, not because I'm throwing stones or whether or not you had M&Ms or Reese's Cups or whatever last night. I'm not doing that. I just want you to know. Because you look at it. I want you to think about it. I want you to think about this. If your child was about to eat a Tide Pod or one of those little pods that you throw in the dishwasher, If your child had gone into the kitchen and opened up the little doors underneath the sink and had gotten into the dishwashing soap pods and was about to eat one of those, would you let them do it? I mean, they're pretty, they're beautiful, they're color. The kids want them, right? I mean, come on, they want them, and they're whatever, green and red and blue or whatever the little colors are that's in those things. They're very attractive, right? Would you let your child eat that? Would you eat one of those? Absolutely not, right? We wouldn't. We would not eat one of those. But if we've got a basket full of M&Ms and Reese's and Snickers bars and Twix and Baby Ruths and Milky Ways and Starburst and Skittles, we won't even think we won't even hesitate or even think about the what we're actually doing. I didn't do it for 51 years. I didn't do it at all. And last night I had a whole bucket of that stuff. I even had some patients come over to the house last night and bring their little kids and trick or treat at my house, and I gave I gave them that stuff that was in that basket. And I told them, I said, look, okay, here's how this works. As soon as you get home, dump all this in the trash. It's just got kind of like going to the movies or something, or whatever. It's just an event that you're doing. You dressed up. Yeah, one of them was Elmo and one of them was Cookie Monster, and then the little girl was Emma, or I don't know, something. She was Abby or something, from something, and she was they did their trick or treat thing. Mom and dad, little kid, beautiful, family oriented stuff, social work, social interaction, on your feet, walking, all the good things that go along with it. Now, just take all that stuff and take it home and dump it in the trash, because it's like eating Tide Pods. Really, it's poison. It's poison. So, and the question is, do you want to open yourself up over the next few days, because you've done such a good job of keeping yourself healthy? Do you want to open yourself up to the possibility of destroying your immune system and now getting sick? Right? That would be something, because it's like, because you'll do it, and then there's a couple things you'll do that. You'll also increase the pain in your body. You'll increase the pain all over your body, and those are the things I really want to talk about tonight. I want to talk about the immune system and the sugar, and I want to talk about the pain in the body in the sugar. But I want to start with this massive research that we've gone over before, and I want to ask the question: why do we eat sugar? Why do we eat sugar? And you're going to say to me, because it tastes good. And I'm going to say to you, that's not the reason. And you're going to say to me, you're full of crap. You're full of it, dude. That's exactly the reason. I love the way it tastes. I love the way that candy tastes. What do you mean that's not why I do it? Of course it's why I do it. I love it. Man, I love a Snickers bar. I love all that stuff. That's why I'm eating it. And it's like, nope, hold on just a second. Hold on. Because that's not why we eat it. Let me explain. Let me read something from you, because I found it. And you could go to Nature. And this is a Duke Neurobiology, Duke University School of Medicine, new Nature paper from Borrega's lab, goes deep on sugar and gut-brain connection. And this is Diego Borregas, Borhoruquez, Diego Borregas, at Duke University. And it says, I'll just read a little bit of this article right here. Your taste buds may or may not be able to tell real sugar from sugar substitute like Splenda, but there are cells in your intestines that can and do distinguish between two sweet solutions, and they can communicate the difference to your brain in milliseconds. And then he goes down to a little bit further down, and he says this. In a paper appearing January 13th in Nature Neuroscience, quote, We've identified the cells that make us eat sugar, and they are in the gut. Let me say that again. We've identified the cells that make us eat sugar, and they are in the gut. It's not your tongue. It's not your tongue that loves the sugar. It's your gut. Now, think about that for a second. This is the stuff that we've gotten into. We got into with the mice not too long ago, right? And I could share this. I could share this article with you. This is where I got it right there. But to me, this is just one of the most amazing findings in medicine, in research, in lab. It's not in medicine, it's in research. It's one of the most amazing findings in research that we've identified the cells that make us eat sugar, and they're not in our mouth. They're in our gut. They're in our gut just past our stomach. There are cells that can communicate to the brain in milliseconds through the vagus nerve. That's how that works. And really what I really wanted to show tonight is I wanted to show the connection between the gut and the brain. I wanted to show the connection between the gut and the brain, and because this is all about brain, right? Our show is all about brain. And that's where it all starts. It starts in our brain. We want to protect our brain. Our immune system is communicating to our brain. Our gut is communicating to our brain. And it's all working together. And when we get into this situation to where we start to change the way that our brain is functioning by the sugar intake, that's where everything starts to go south. And that's, you guys, we've done a whole bunch of this. You can go back. I don't remember exactly what month it was, but we did a whole segment on this. Diego Borregas, this finding of they're called neuropod cells, right? We've talked about it before. And remember that you guys, it's been a couple of weeks since I mentioned the mice study, right? The mice study, and he's the one, and Zucker, Dr. Zucker at Columbia University, they're the guys that talked to me about the mice study, and we might as well talk about it tonight. It's and just in case you're new to the show, you might have missed it. And if you're not new to the show, you're going to love it again, right? Because you'll know all the answers, and then you'll feel good about yourself. They put mice in a cage. They put a water supply that was sugar water. They put water supply that was regular water. They put the mice in the cage. Which water supply did the mice drink from? You wonder. Which one? Where did the mice go? They went to the sugar water, right? Almost 100%. The mice went to the sugar water. Why? Oh, well, because it tastes good. It made them, it's like, whew, I love the sugar from the sugar water, right? Okay. Now they took those mice out of the cage, and they put another set of mice in the cage that they had altered their sweet receptors on their tongues to where they didn't have any. These mice, this new set of mice that they put in the cage, could not taste sweet. So they put them in the cage. What did they drink from? The mice that could not taste sweet, what did they drink from? They drank 50-50 from both water supplies. Why? Because they couldn't tell. They couldn't taste it. They didn't know it. They didn't know any better. They just were drinking from whatever water was available, and it tasted the same to them because they couldn't taste sweet. But they left those mice in the cage for 48 hours. And what happened? All the mice went back almost 100% to the sugar water. And they couldn't figure out why they would have done that. They couldn't figure out why the mice went back to the sugar water after that. And it's because of the neuropod cells, because of the once the sugar got into the mouth and it got digested into the system and it hit the small intestine, the neuropod cells detected the sugar in the body. They detected that the sugar got in the body, and then they used the vagus nerve to communicate back to the brain. Mission accomplished. Mission accomplished. We got the sugar we were looking for because the brain likes sugar, right? The brain likes sugar, not the mouth. The mouth would eat the sugar even if the mouth couldn't taste the sugar. That's the just the craziest point of this study to me. It's so astounding to me. You would eat the Reese's cup even if you couldn't taste the Reese's cup because it's not your mouth that loves the Reese's cup. It's your brain that loves the Reese's cup. Hey, we got to take a break. We're going to come back and we're going to talk about more of this on the other side of the break. So you guys stick around with us. We'll be right back. We got any husky people out there listening to the show? Any of you guys that are listening to this show, a husky person? Did you wear husky jeans when you were little? Back in the 70s, they used to have a type of jean. They had slim fit and then they had husky. That's what they used to call you when you were a little chubby back in the day. They called you husky. I don't know where they came up with that. I guess they didn't want to call you fat. I don't know. Maybe you just were a little thicker than the little skinny kids. I don't know. But I have never in my lifetime been accused of being slim. Never. I've never been the slim fit guy. Never bought a pair of slim fit pants in my entire life. I have bought the husky pants. My dad's tall, my mom's a little shorter. I'm built more like my mom. My dad's had those tall, long legs. I don't have that look. My brother's got that look. And so that I have been the guy from my whole entire life that if man, I love me some Snickers bars. You guys may be one of those people. You might be one of those people that loves you some Snickers bars too. Why? Because of the dopamine in my brain, right? We know that now. We know it now. You should have seen me last night. I'm standing there with this bucket of candy, and I'm standing there, and Caitlin's there, and Leslie's there, and I was like, you remember when I used to just destroy this bucket? Like I would have eaten. I would have tried to hide. I would have been very stingy last night as a trick or treat host for those little kids that come up to our house. I'd just be dropping one thing in their bag, and they'd be getting Milky Way, and then they'd be getting Starburst, and they would be getting Twix because I don't like those, and then they would be getting what else did we have in that thing last night? Skittles. Yeah, I would give away all that stuff, and I'd be giving it away one at a time because there ain't no way I would be giving away Snickers bars to those little kids. I'd be saving that for myself. And last night I just holding it in my hands. I just like it's like I was holding rocks or something. I never even thought about it. I didn't even think about eating one of those things last night. Hang on, let me get us back on the show. Okay, everybody, we're back. This is Life with Jason Clemmons, DC. We're talking about the connection between sugar and the immune system, and between sugar and pain, and that's where we're going now. I just think this article, this Diego Borregas research in this Borregas lab at Duke University, could be if you were paying attention, if you were a paying attention kind of person, that would be one of the most life-changing articles that you could ever read, ever. I think. I just I just think that is just amazing finding. I think that's an amazing finding what they've done to find out that you would eat, because you can't tell me the reason you eat cake, the reason you eat ice cream, the reason you eat any candy, the reason you eat sugar is because you love the taste. If you say that out loud, you do not understand the science of it. If you say that out loud, you're saying something ignorant, and I'm not coming at you. I'm just sharing it with you, right? The reason, because if I cut your tongue out, if I burned off all of the sweet receptors in your mouth, you would still eat it. Bam. Yeah, because it would get to your gut and it would hit that neuropod cell, and the neuropod cell would fire the brain, and the brain would release dopamine along with other things. But that's the big one. Why? What side of the brain has the affinity for dopamine? The left side. Yep, that's why we eat it in the first place. That's why last night when I had that whole bucket of candy, I could pick up those. I picked up about 5 or 6 pieces of Snickers, one of those little small square Snickers. I picked up about 5 or 6 pieces of Snickers and I just played with it in my hands. It's you know how what Jesus talks about when I like or the Bible talks about like walking through the valley of the shadow of death and fearing no evil. Like when people always say, "You go to Vegas? Are you kidding me?" I'm like, "Yeah, I know that's where the devil lives, but I'm not worried about where the devil lives. I can walk down any street. I got Jesus in my heart. I'm not worried about that, right? I don't have a fear of that I'm not going to get enticed by that nonsense, right? So I feel that same way now, and I really, really don't want it to sound arrogant, and I think maybe it does sometimes, and I think maybe sometimes after the show is over and I go home or the next morning and I'm thinking about what we said on the show, I think about it and I say, I really do hope the people listening to the show don't think that I'm bragging, because I'm not bragging. I'm not. I'm trying to share this amazing story that no one else is going to share. I looked it up. Who makes Reese's cups? Hershey. What did we just talk about last week or two? Hershey. He was a good dude. He was a good dude. He made a whole town. He made hospitals. He made schools. He made neighborhoods. He did a lot of great things with the millions of dollars he made by selling toxic sugar to people. He was one of the biggest drug dealers in the history of our country, but he was a good dude. He was great to the people, but he that's who makes the Reese's cup. What is the incentive of the person that makes the Reese's cup? What's the incentive? Warren Buffett is one of the richest people on the planet. He's one of the richest people in the United States. He invests in Coca-Cola and candy. It's genius. It's genius to be able to do that because you can make millions. It's legalized drug dealing is what it is. And it's physically addicting to the left side of the brain, the dopamine centers in the brain through the gut. And the gut will now start to look for that sugar and it'll feed that pathway and it creates neuroplasticity. And neuroplasticity, it means that a nervous system pathway that fires often has a tendency to fire again. And it took me about 4 weeks. It took me about 4 weeks. I had to get irately mad to break it. And then at about 4 weeks, I broke it. And that was 32 months ago tomorrow. 32 months ago tomorrow, since I had a Snickers bar. And I'm a Husky guy. And I love Snickers bars, right? But I'm not addicted to them anymore. They have nothing on me. I can play with them in my hands, like I'm playing with this highlighter. I could just play with them in my hands and I could just drop them back in the basket. That is, to me, is an astounding experience because that's never happened to me. It didn't happen to me for 51 years. It didn't happen to me. So now I know it. Now I know that. You know what? I know that we'll do this because this is fun, right? I know that story just like I know this story. Remember what did we drop the other day? 4LB fly, 70 curl, hold post on the backside swing. I know that too. Like that right there. This is one I didn't show you this one. This was a great one. We had this one at New Mexico State. It's the same concept. Is basically unstoppable. Same concept here, and swing, except on this side, we're going to run the double in route. And then we're going to read the weak side linebacker right there. And we're going to read the weak side linebacker. And then if the we're going to start that whole thing. No, we're not. We're going to read the middle linebacker. If the middle linebacker moves to the twin side, then now we're going to come back and read the strong side linebacker to get the tight end or the curl route over here. If the middle linebacker stays high, then we're going to read the weak side linebacker. Does he get depth and go underneath the deep end? Then we're coming back underneath. We're coming to the shallow end. If that linebacker gets flat and covers the shallow end, we're going to hit the deep end on the other side. It's great. That's a great play. I don't remember the play because that was New Mexico State and I didn't own it the same way. But to me, what is so awesome about that is that the concept of that play, is just like the concept of putting the mice in the cage. It's the same 100%, 50, 100%. It's like, dude, we can win the game now. Like, we actually can win. We can make a first down. We can win the game. If we can execute based on what we know right there, then now we got a chance to win the game. That to me is why that's so exciting. You can't get me now, you little punk drugs dealer. I was thinking about that. My grandpa got so mad at my cousin one time that he didn't talk to him for like, I don't know, 2 or 4 years. My cousin sends his brother-in-law or something. I don't know, some family member. My grandpa is having a problem with his air conditioner, and my cousin sends his brother-in-law over there to my grandpa's house to look at the air conditioner, and he tells him it's going to be $300 or $400 to fix it or something like that. So the next day or two or something, my cousin's over at my grandpa's house, and they're sitting in there having a sandwich. They live in the same town, Talco, Texas, Talco. It's had like 600 people in it my whole life. That's where my daddy grew up. There's 600 people in the town, and my grandpa and my cousin live about 3 or 4 streets away from each other. Like, you can almost hit my cousin's house with a driver, like a good tee shot would hit my cousin's house from my grandpa's house. It's how close they live together. So they're sitting in there at the table, and my grandpa starts griping about the $300 or $400 that Randy said it was going to take to fix the air conditioner. And Craig says, Paul, Randy's trying to take advantage of me. And Craig said, Paul, Randy's not trying to take advantage of you. He's just trying to tell you what it's going to cost to fix your air conditioner. And Paul looks at Craig and says, are you calling me a liar? And Craig said, no, Paul, I'm not calling you a liar, but that you're wrong on this Randy deal. And Paul says, I ain't going to have somebody call me a liar in my own house. And that's when 2 stubborn people ran into each other. So Craig just left his sandwich, I think, sitting on the table, and he just got up and he just walked out of Paul's house and didn't go back in Paul's house for, I don't remember if it was 2 or 4 years. So for the next 2 or 4 years, whatever it was, every time we went to Talco for Christmas or Thanksgiving to see my grandpa, We couldn't see Craig over at my grandpa's house. We had to go across the street and see Craig over at his house, or go over to my aunt's and uncle's house and see. He would come over there because Paul wouldn't. He didn't go out. He didn't get out of the house. So he wouldn't go over there, and we could see Craig over there, but he couldn't come over to Granny Paul's house. It's the dumbest thing I ever said. I used to tell Craig, I was like, Craig, seriously, man, like, just go say I'm sorry to Paul. Like, let's get over this thing, right? Nope. Neither one of them would budge. And my grandpa was not going to have somebody pull the wool over his eyes. That's okay. Why did I tell that story? Because that's what Mr. Hershey's doing to us. That's what Mr. Walton's doing to us at Walmart. I heard somebody say the other day that in a grocery store, 10% of the food is health food. They have a health food section in a grocery store. And if they have a health food section in a grocery store, what does that make the rest of the food? Right? You wouldn't let somebody pull the wool over your eyes at the oil change place. You wouldn't go buy yourself a new vehicle and get cheated in the vehicle. Leslie about had a fit last night when we ordered Blue Sky with the protein plate from Blue Sky, and they did the order wrong. They charged us too much, and she was fussy over $7 or whatever it was that they charged us, and then they didn't get the order right, and so she was fussing about that. We will take a stand. We will take a stand on the things that we understand that we're getting cheated on, but we will not take a stand on the things that we don't understand. And we don't understand what the candy industry and the food industry and the pharmaceutical industry and the alcohol industry are doing to us. We don't understand the wool they're trying to pull over our eyes, and the blatant and obvious trickery that goes on with all that stuff. We talked about that this week. I was raised on Frosted Flakes. Shame on those people. Shame on those people for giving a kid Frosted Flakes. What in the living heck, right? Yeah, I didn't mean to get, I'm not trying to get intense. This is a Friday. We're supposed to be happy on a Friday, right? But if you knew that if I cut the sugar receptors out of your tongue, you'd still eat that sugar because it's about your brain, and the next question you might ask yourself is, what is it about my brain that's not working properly that's causing me to eat that candy? What is happening in my brain? And why is that the case? And what else might it be doing to me? That's what else I want to talk about tonight. What else could it be doing to us? If it's not just about dopamine, how about pain? How about this? How about association of chronic spinal pain with diet quality? And I'll just hit some of the highlighted parts of this right here. But what about your pain? Because how many of you are going to say it? I had it this week, just like I always have it. My hip hurts. I think it's my arthritis. Right? That's what we're going to say. I think it's my arthritis. What the heck does that mean? My arthritis. What does that mean? What does arthritis mean? Inflammation in the joint? Okay, let's talk about that for just a second, because I think it's cool. I hope it's cool. Yeah, this was from Pain Reports, Association of Chronic Pain with Diet Quality. University of Michigan, group of people from the University of Michigan, September, October 2020, number 5, pages E837, right here. Population-based data set was 4,000 people, 4,123 participants with a mean average age of 43 years old. Diet quality was calculated by using the Healthy Eating Index 2015. They looked at all kinds of stuff. Pain medication consumption. Pain medications were grouped into 5 classes: opioids, NSAID, centrally acting drugs, selective serotonin reuptake inhibitors, and selective norepinephrine reuptake inhibitors. Spinal pain, that is pain in the back, neck, and hip. Nuh-uh. See it? They won't even say it properly. They won't even say it properly. Spinal pain, that is pain in the back, neck, and hip, affects 54% to 80% of adults and is the leading cause of physical disability associated with sequelae, including decreased quality of life, unemployment, and mood disorders. You see, we know it. We're not going to fall for that. We're not going to fall for that sentence anymore because spinal pain, that is pain in the back, neck, and hip. No, you don't have pain in back, neck, and hip if you don't mention your brain, right? If you use the word pain in a sentence and you do not include your brain, you don't understand pain. It's in your brain. That's the only place that it's in. It's registered. Pain is registered in your brain. You can't say I have back pain without saying I have back and brain pain. You can't say I have hip pain. And I hope you understand that. I hope that makes sense to you, right? Because if I cut the nerve off from your brain, you would not feel your low back. If I cut the nerve from your knee to your brain, you wouldn't feel pain in your knee, even if I hit you in the knee with a shovel. You wouldn't feel pain in your knee, right? Because pain is in your brain, right? Just like sugar is in your brain. Just like your immune system is in your brain. Like all those things are matching. It's our brain. It's not our low back pain. Chronic spinal pain is disabling and has high personal and societal cost, right? We know all that. There is emerging evidence about the role, now let me back up. Mechanisms linking diet to chronic pain could include modulation of the gut-brain axis, where diet-driven alterations or changes in gut-derived neurotransmitters may lead to changes in brain neurotransmitter levels, such as glutamate, influencing the development of chronic pain. There is emerging evidence about the role of the gut-brain axis on development of chronic pain. Diet quality and added sugars are some of the most important influencers of the gut microbiota composition. When you add sugar to your gut, you feed the bad bacteria, you change the neurotransmitters in your brain, you change the immune system, you increase the pain, you decrease the immune system. Right? That's why you go trick-or-treating, you enjoy the trick-or-treating, you do the thing with your kids, you dress up as Lala or whatever, and then you go home and throw it all in the trash because you don't want to be cheated by those people down there at the candy factory that are only selling you the candy because they're trying to make enough money to buy themselves a new yacht or they're going to build a hospital or something like that. You might as well just go down and donate to the people and give them the $20 and let them build the hospital, right? They're not going to trick us anymore. Not us. They can't trick us, right? Changes in the gut microbiome composition can lead to changes in gut-derived neurotransmitters that in turn can influence the brain neurotransmitter levels. These changes in brain neurotransmitters can then influence the development of chronic pain. Individuals with chronic spinal pain consume approximately the same number of calories as did those without pain. This was very important. The people that had pain and did not have pain, they both consumed pretty much the same amount of calories, okay? Individuals who reported chronic spinal pain tended to be older, women, non-Hispanic, white, have a higher BMI, body mass index, lower poverty income ratio, and were more likely to report taking pain-associated medication across the 5 assessed categories. And those are the ones we talked about, all right, or any pain-associated medication. Individuals reporting chronic spinal pain consume significantly less protein, more saturated fat, and more added sugar. For the total HEI, what do we say that was? Healthy eating index, yeah. For the total healthy eating index score, individuals in the highest the best one-third of the diet, were 24% less likely to report chronic spinal pain relative to those in the lowest. So the highest one-third. So if you filled out the healthy eating index uh, questionnaire, and you were in the top one-third of the healthy eating index questionnaire, you had 24% less likely chance of reporting pain than the people who were in the bottom third. For the moderate HEI scores, only the added sugar score was significantly associated with chronic pain, where individuals in the highest score were 29% less likely to report chronic spinal pain. Individuals in the highest score of added sugar intake were 41% more likely to report chronic pain relative to individuals in the lowest. Your 41% increase in chance of having arthritis. Why? Because sugar feeds inflammation, and inflammation in the joint is called arthritis. And what would you do? You would go take your Celebrex or your Tylenol or your whatever whatever drug of choice you're going to take for yourself, right? Your non-steroidal anti-inflammatory. Take your baby aspirin. Take your whatever your thing is that you take to combat what? To combat the sugar that you're eating that's flaming your joints, right? Similar results were observed for individuals in the second third of added sugar intake who were 46 more likely to report chronic pain relative to individuals who consumed the lowest amounts of added sugar. There's 31 grams of sugar in a package of M&Ms. There was 20 grams of sugar in 2 Reese's cups. Who eats 2 Reese's cups? Not somebody who's addicted to dopamine, like not somebody who needs more dopamine. 2 Reese's cups was way back about 7th grade. I mean, remember that story? We started off with 1 Reese's cup when we were in 4th grade in our lunch. And then by the time we got to 7th grade, we were asking mom for 2 Reese's cups. And by the time we got to high school, we were eating 4 Reese's cups. And by the time we got to college, we were eating 4 Reese's cups and a Baby Ruth. Don't tell me I'm the only person that's ever stopped at a gas station and gotten 4 Reese's cups and a Baby Ruth. You can't tell me I'm the only person. Maybe some of you very moderate people, like my wife, who doesn't eat that sugar. Not us husky boys. I'm telling you, we'll eat a whole bag of Reese's cups. 2 Reese's cups. Are you kidding me? Take the 4-pack of Reese's and split it in half and share it. No, I'm not doing that. Not a chance. So I'm probably going to end up with 40 or 60 or 80. How much sugar was in all that ice cream that I ate in Las Vegas? You know how much ice cream I ate in Las Vegas this trip? 0. I'm not doing that twice. Coach Sykes used to say that all the time. Hey, if you're walking home from school and you walk through Mrs. Jones's yard and her dog bites you on the leg, tomorrow when you're walking home from school, don't walk through Mrs. Jones's yard again. Right? You guys have heard the Coach Dykes' story. I went to Vegas 3.5 years ago. I ate sugar every night when I was there. I came home and got COVID. I had 102 fever for 11 straight days. I had to sit there in my house for 11 straight days. I took 2 weeks off from work. The last time I had a vacation, took 2 weeks off from work and sat at the house and had 102 fever for 11 days because I wanted to see what my body was going to do with it. I wanted to know. And how did I get it? I self-inflicted myself. Yeah. Did I have any sugar when I was in Vegas this time? No, I did not. I'm coachable. I might not be very smart, but I'm coachable. So it's like, yep, I'm not going to do that twice, right? Despite consuming a similar amount of total calories, individuals reporting chronic spinal pain had a significantly poorer overall diet quality score, even after adjusting for key clinical and socio-demographic confounders. Our results are consistent with other studies that have examined the association of diet quality in various chronic pain disorders. Eating a lower quality diet could potentially increase the risk of developing chronic pain. Added sugar were associated with 49% increased odds of chronic spinal pain. Added sugars is going to increase spinal pain. It's also going to increase shoulder pain, elbow pain, foot pain, and knee pain. All of it. It's all going to hurt. That's why you're going to take all that Halloween candy and go throw it in the trash, right? That's what you're going to do right now. Hey, we've run out of time. That's all the show I got for you tonight. I hope that was hope it was enjoyable. Hope you learned something from it, and I hope that you have a great weekend. And I hope the Red Raiders beat the Cyclones. And we will see you guys. We'll talk to you guys on Monday.